Hi everyone, this is Chris again with Grand Swan Farm. Today we're going to talk about how to keep open water for your swans in the winter using an aerator system. Um, I highly recommend an aerator that pulls water from the bottom of the pond to the top. More so than a fountain. A fountain will help keep the water open. The problem, excuse me there, with the fountain is the swans will get around it and the water will fall on top of them and then it'll freeze on top of them, really weighting them down, and they'll peck at it, and it's just very irritable for them. So I do not recommend a fountain, even though that looks prettier than an aerator. Aerator works much better also if you're concerned about fish kill off in the winter for lack of oxygen and so forth and so on. It helps keep things just moving in the pond. You will see in the next video that I actually go to the website, the people that I like to buy from. They've been good on responses and so forth. I think their prices are equal to anybody else's, and I've had no problems with their compressors or anything else. It's taken me a couple times to decide what's best through trial and error. Again, trying to go cheapest just doesn't always work out. You'll also see in the second video, second of three, that I tried to calculate what it's going to cost you per month to run this electric motor, this 3/4 horsepower motor that I recommend. I had the figures right, it just didn't have the decimal point in the right spot. So running 24 hours a day, and if you're a utility company, which you can check your electric bill, it'll give you a total of kWh used and what they charged you for that month. So you can divide that out and it'll give you a per kWh rate. Mine here is high, it's 17 cents. And when you figure that out, it cost me about $2.65 a day. Okay, in 30 days, that's $78. And at $78, let's just say 80 bucks, and I've got three of them. 78 bucks times three is 21, 22, about 200 and some odd dollars a month. And I run it a good solid 6 months a year, just an expense incurred. But keeping swans off the water in the winter, especially trumpeters, whoopers, mutes, I just don't recommend. They absolutely hate being enclosed. They even hate being enclosed with a fence on a pond. It's not their favorite thing, but at least they're on the water. They can keep themselves clean. It's where they're meant to be compared to being inside a dark, no sunlight, no vitamin D enclosure for the winter months. Several people do this. I just personally do not recommend it for those three species. It's a known fact that humans get depressed with no sunlight, so you can imagine what it does to your loved swans. So definitely recommend having an aerator. If you call me and we talk about some swans that you'd like to have, that will be one of the questions that I'll ask you to make sure that your swans will stay on the pond during the winter months. I've had people call me, and because they got a call from the local Humane Society because somebody drove by their property and saw those poor swans out on the pond, and it's 10 degrees out. Again, lack of knowledge from the community, the country, the world as a whole. They thought something was wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. When they go to nest in their natural habitats, it's way colder than that when they start nesting, especially the trumpeters up in Canada, Alaska, and so forth. It's pretty doggone cold up there yet. But that's what they do. and it's perfectly natural, normal, doesn't hurt the birds a bit. I think it does more harm to have them inside than it does to have them in their natural habitat. It's obvious the way they're built and nature made them. They're not made to walk. They're not made to be on straw. They're made to be in water as much as possible. So just my recommendation. Not an expert, but that's what I've observed over the years and so forth. Placement of your pump itself is really up to you. You'll just have to get electric out to it, and then you can run everything from there. Do-it-yourself pond aeration makes enclosures as well if you're not that handy. I've made my own boxes. I bought my own fans to blow on the motor. It's very important to keep that motor cool, even in the winter time. Even if you have vents on your enclosure, I found that motor still gets pretty doggone hot. So you want to keep that cool down. Stopping and starting all the time, as well as heat's the biggest detriment to any electric motor. So you want to get as long a life as you can out of that. On a somewhat of a side note, they do sell rebuild kits for these pumps. And I tried to rebuild one after 3.5, 4 years of use, because I noticed it just wasn't putting out as much air as it used to. So they sell rebuild kits for like 60, 70 bucks. Got it quickly, so forth. Took this thing apart, and I consider myself pretty mechanical, and it was pretty straightforward. However, in order to get out the old piston ring, which is just some kind of engineered plastic, there's a Torx head bolt that holds it all in place. One of them, they must use Loctite, and I'm almost positive that they do. After breaking 2 Torx bits, finally broke loose. The other one I tried heating. I tried everything I could, because certain Loctite, you need heat to break it down. And I'm sure they have to do this so it doesn't come unscrewed as it's running. But I broke 3 more Torx head bits, so I tried putting it back together without replacing that, and it just didn't work correctly. So kind of be aware of that. I'm not saying that a pump that runs $400, it will last you 4 or 5 years before you really have to consider, doing something different. And depending on your situation, it may last longer. It still may be turning enough water that that it's going to do fine for you in the wintertime for your birds. It's just kind of one of those things that you have to wait and see what how it does and how it acts. The next video part 2 will show you the site and exactly what I'm talking about, and on their website, and what I recommend. And then part 3, I will go outside and show you how I located them and how it looks actually in the water. The 3/4 horse pump is good enough for 2 rings, but just be aware each ring will get half the CFM that the pump's putting out, so they won't be as quite a big in an area. But that may work out best for you. Maybe you don't need 2 separate rings in your area to keep open. And you want to place them close enough, if you can, to the feeder, so that they can always have access to the feeder without having to go up on the ice to get food, which they will. But again, that leads to predation possibility. The one side of my pond, I got a fence all the way around, along with electric wires on the other side. So I don't care if they have to go up on the ice to get something to eat, because nothing's going to get them by design. And most people don't have that advantage. But with being a breeder, I need to have that, so I don't lay awake at night worrying about my cygnets or my breeders. So anyway, look forward to seeing you in part 2 and part 3, because it's a 3-part series. I put them all together, but I don't know how to do that. I am not a tech geek by any means. So have a good day. Take care. And as always, thank you for watching Grand Swan Farm. Take care. Bye-bye.